On behalf of the student body, it is my privilege to present to you the speaker for the 130th commencement for Goldie Beacom College. He grew up and attended high school only a few miles from this college and served 10 years admirably in Newcastle County government. In 2010, he was first selected to the United States Senate, and since that time, he has represented the first state with dignity, vigor, and bipartisanship. He currently serves on the United States Senate committees for Appropriations, Foreign Relations, the Judiciary, and Small Business and Entrepreneurship. He also is currently Vice Chair of the Senate Ethics Committee. Please join me in welcoming Senator Christopher A. Coons.
Well, thank you, Zeke. Thank you for that great introduction. And folks, Zeke has been an intern in my office, so he's had a chance to be part of the first 100 days of the new administration. It's been a roller coaster ride, and I'm grateful you've been along for every day. So give Zeke Harrington a round of applause, if you would, as we look forward to his success here as well. You look fantastic. I wish you could see what I can see. I wish you could see the graduating class of 2017 and the unbelievable array of friends and family, administrators and instructors. This is a gorgeous view. And in a few moments, I may ask you to join me, some of you, in seeing this view. As you heard in that introduction, I am a United States Senator. Yet I promise you, I will not filibuster. I will keep my address brief. I will be short. I am always short, but today I will be short and brief. And I am not going to talk to you about Washington, D.C. That deserves a round of applause. To President Wirt, to the Board of Trustees, to Chairman John Patterson III, to the faculty of Goldie Beacom, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to be with you today. And to the Honorary Degree Committee, thank you for what will soon be bestowed upon Senator Peterson and me, doctorates in public administration. I am certain I do not deserve it, but I am grateful for the opportunity to attempt to nonetheless. And to Senator Karen Peterson, congratulations on your honorary degree. Thank you, Karen, for your service to Delaware as State Senator, as Newcastle County Council President and Division Director at Department of Labor. Your leadership in Dover on social justice issues and open government have been and will remain an inspiration to me. To the graduates, congratulations. You've done it. Take for yourselves a wonderful and deserved round of applause. It may be a little cloudy outside, but it is bright and sunny as your future here inside this auditorium. I cannot imagine how elated you are, how tired you are, how satisfied you are, how joyful you are, and how relieved your family and friends are that we are at this day of your graduation. You are now part of the vast network of Goldie grads that make this degree so valuable. You are leaders and leaders in training. You are valuable to your employers, to your families, to our community. You have worked your tails off and you have earned this moment. Enjoy it. Soak it in. You've invested hundreds of hours, maybe thousands in this degree, reading and researching, writing and studying, doing projects and working hard for everything you have accomplished. As I asked for stories of individuals, I was overwhelmed with how far you've come and how much you've done to be in these seats, wearing these caps and gowns and about to receive these degrees today. You have literally gone the extra mile. One of your classmates, Eric Johnson, literally walked the extra mile from Ellesmere to and from to get to class. Eric works 2 jobs, walked to school nearly every day, is a valued member of the Goldie support staff, and is graduating with a near perfect GPA. A round of applause for Eric. You have among your classmates graduates like Veronica Ortiz Lopez, who made it to graduation by persevering through hard times. Having lost her job in 2015, she thought, today was going to escape her grasp, that she wouldn't be able to continue with her studies, yet she pulled together the resources, stuck with it, and today she will be marching across this stage. Give Veronica a round of applause. And I want you to think about how much you have had to do to be here and how many others have supported you to get you here. You've had supervisors or bosses or coworkers who covered for you or let you get out of work early to make it on weekends or evenings. You've had parents, spouses, siblings, cousins, friends who volunteered to watch your children or cover your shift or help you study for finals or help you make ends meet so you could walk across this stage today. Some of you had to leave behind communities and families literally on the other side of the world. We have graduates today from 20 states across our country and from nations as diverse as China, India, Turkey, Nepal, Egypt, Colombia, Spain, and Russia, here to earn a degree that will change your lives forever. So right now, graduates, if you would, indulge me for a moment. Think about who is in this audience or who might be watching this remotely from home, who was part of the support team that made it possible for you to walk across this stage today. And now let's stand up and turn and look at them. And graduates, if you would give your friends and family and supporters a round of applause and thanks for what they've done to help make today possible. Little exercise, not a bad thing. And I know many of you also applauded for and thanked the faculty and support staff that have made your Goldie experience so great. You know, you better than anyone know that nothing good, nothing worth having comes easy, comes without work. You've flipped your schedules from 9 to 5 to 5 to 9. That old saying, that proverb that good things come to those who wait, you've proven it wrong. Good things come to those who get up early, who work harder, who make the extra effort, who finish their coursework, and who just don't give up. Good things have come to Aziz Elgood, who is also walking across this stage today. A single father who represented the Lightning here on this basketball court, who began his studies in '07, had some interruptions and some detours, but was committed to finishing his degree and hasn't earned less than an A since coming back to finish in 2014. Give Aziz a round of applause for graduating today. Good things come to those who work, and your graduation today is a very good thing. As Zeke mentioned in introduction, I grew up just literally a mile down the road on Polly Drummond. My family and I moved to Pike Creek back in 1977, and Route 7 was just a two-lane country road, and there wasn't another store for a mile around when this campus was first built. 20 years ago, I started my professional career at a company on Paper Mill Road about 5 miles from here called W.O. Gore and Associates. And I had an amazing experience at W.O. Gore. I am today a United States Senator, and that gives me opportunities I never dreamed of and never imagined. But I wanted to share with you for just a few moments how I got to be where I am and what were the things that made it possible for me to have this opportunity to serve you. I'll tell you, growing up in this immediate community when times were tough, and for a few years my mom was raising 3 boys by herself, and she'd take me to the Kirkwood Highway Library for daycare, and I'd go to Del Castle Park for daycare. I never imagined I would someday be working in the capital of the United States and delivering a commencement address on this then brand new campus. But there are dozens of individuals, groups, neighbors, people who made this possible. From a Boy Scout troop master to a terrific youth pastor at my church, to neighbors and to others who challenged me. But no one supported and challenged me more than my wife, Annie. In 2000, I was working at W.O. Gore. I was both a chemist and a lawyer. I had a great job, and we had infant twins and a baby girl on the way. And a guy, John Daniello, the county party chairman, asked me out to lunch and said, I have a great opportunity for you. You ought to run for county council president. And not being very wise, I laughed in his face. I am occasionally rude, forgive me. And I said, I may be stupid, but I'm not crazy. That's a terrible job and nobody wants it. And I went home and said to my wife, you'll never guess what John Daniello tried to talk me into today. And she said, what? I said, he wants me to run for county council president. And she looked at me and she said, you know, that'd be really hard. And it's a really thankless job. But didn't you grow up right here? I said, yeah, I did. She said, what was that library your mom always took you to? I said, the Kirkwood Highway County Library. And she said, and wasn't there some county police who helped out with your youth group? I said, well, yeah, what's your point? And she said, and didn't your church always take the kids over to Del Castle County Park? I said, where are we going with this, honey? And she said, I think that is exactly what you ought to do. I think you ought to step out of your comfort zone, do something you're not prepared to do, take on something that needs you, and give back to this community that raised you. Looking back on it, I don't know how we got through it. We had 3 kids under 3. I ended up with 2 full-time jobs. We spent most of our time working on fluid management. I was either fixing the county sewer system or changing diapers. It really didn't seem to matter whether I was at home or at work. Being on the campaign trail is a very humbling experience. Knocking on doors day and night, interrupting people in their homes, walking up to folks at church picnics and at Wawas and asking for their vote and listening for their concerns is a very humbling thing to do. But after putting myself out there and getting elected 10 years later, I was having a great experience in county government. And then out of left field, this guy named Joe Biden called me one morning and said, I want you to run for my seat in the United States Senate. We make our own luck. You have to put yourself in the right place at the right time for lightning to strike. So if I could just share with you a closing thought, it's that when that second moment happened, guess who was sitting right next to me? Praying, pushing me, and saying, why not take this chance? You're right, it was Annie. At that point, our kids were 10, and 8. And I felt like I'd done all the public service I was ever going to do. And when I first stood up to run for the United States Senate, nobody thought I could win. Next week, I am performing the wedding for the guy who was my campaign driver, who is marrying my campaign policy director. And I was having a little bonding moment with them as we were getting ready for the wedding. And I said, Josh, don't you remember those first couple weeks on the campaign in 2010 when the only people who thought I could win were you and me and my wife and my mom? And he goes like this. I said, what? You didn't believe I could win? And I said, well, the pay was good and I needed some experience. I'm like, Josh. Truth hurts. I had to put myself out there, and the only reason I did that, the only reason I took that shot was because of an amazing woman who's been with me every step of the way. So let me just conclude with what I think are a few lessons and a few insights from what you've done to walk across this stage today, and with what I hope you will do with the next chapter of your life, which literally begins today. First, it may sound trite, but find your Annie. I suspect most of you already have someone in your life who supports you, who cheers you on, who is your champion. Maybe that's someone you've met. Here I am matchmaking at graduation. Maybe that's someone you know already. But if not, open your heart. Be that mentor, be that role model, be that cheerleader for others, and you will find them for yourselves. As you go from here in your work life and your career, as you go back to communities that need you and want you, recognize that we all make a difference in the world only because someone else pushes us, challenges us, believes in us. And for many of you, it's probably the people you've already applauded here today. Second, listen. Have open ears. Have open ears and an open heart to match. I don't mean to sound like an old guy, but your generation, the younger generation of our world, is more liberated and empowered by technology than any previous generation, and yet more distracted than any previous generation. Most of my staff in D.C. are 25 or so, and I can't tell you how often I have to tell them to put the phone down and look me in the eyes. I've also given this advice to our president. That's my one comment today. Everything goes better when we follow my mom's advice. God created us with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Talk less, listen more. I'm last convinced in life that we make our luck, that if we're going to take our shot, as Hamilton says, we have to first put ourselves out there. We have to take the risk that puts us in a place where we can do it. And I think about how many of you had to take risks, had to get out of your comfort zone, had to, in some cases, travel across the world or from different states to be here today. So I know I'm literally preaching to the choir as I offer some words of congratulation and encouragement to folks who've already taken that advice to heart. Let me close with a few words that I heard earlier today. I saw my predecessor, Joe Biden, this morning at an event that the pastor referenced. And Joe reminded me that one of the most important lessons in life is that it doesn't matter how many times life knocks you down, as long as you get up one more time than you've been knocked down. And there's no man in America who knows more about that than our Vice President, Joe Biden. You can give him a round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This morning I was at a very hard event. It was a several-hour-long funeral for a state police corporal who was killed in the line of duty, Steve Ballard. And of all the folks who spoke, the person who was most inspiring was not a politician. I know that's not a big surprise. It was not a pastor. It wasn't even a fellow police officer. It was his widow, Louise, who stood up and stood ramrod straight and with a smile on her face thanked the 3,000 officers from 36 states who'd come to pay their respects. And she said, "This is my Stevens victory, that I get to see men and women from all over our country who every single day get up and do a job that's hard, a job that requires heart." And she wanted me to share this as she wanted everyone who was there this morning to share this. Her late husband absolutely loved his job. He got up every day thrilled at the opportunity to serve and to make our community safer. So if I would pass on to you her advice, it would be this: love your job. Find a thing to do with your life that matters and that makes a difference, that speaks to you and that makes a lasting difference. If you do, it will never seem like a job. It will seem like a calling. None of us know how many of our days we have left. All of us will make more of a difference and do a better job if we find a way to use our God-given talents in a way that will make a difference. Last, I've been challenged and inspired by this blessing from St. Francis recently. May God bless you with foolishness. Foolishness to believe you can make a real difference in this world, so that with God's grace, you are able to do what others claim cannot be done. To the class of 2017, I know I look out at a group of men and women who have defied the odds, who have stood up and fought and worked so that today you can walk. When you walk across this stage, you write an enormous start to the next chapter of your lives. With gratitude to the friends and family who've supported you and made this possible, with gratitude to each of you for being role models of what it means to take your freedom and your skills and do something with it, congratulations. You deserve today. God bless you.